Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Adalina, a self-taught watercolor artist and illustrator, and today I'm going to show you 4 of my favorite art books. Whether you are a traditional artist or a digital artist, you're going to find your art book at the end of this video, I promise you. But before watching this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram. So let's start. The first art book is the one of Heikala. She's a traditional artist. She paints a lot with watercolors and inks. And I let her Instagram account in the description below so you can follow her if you don't know her already. And in this book she talks mainly about traditional art, so if you're a traditional artist or if you simply love her artworks, then you should have this book. At the beginning, she talks about her artistic journey, how she did graphic design studies during university, and this helped her to form her brand. She also talks about her tools and materials like watercolors and inks, and she gives us a useful tip like using unerasable tools so that you can sketch faster and you can work around mistakes instead of fixing them. And regarding drawing, sketching and painting, she also talks about inspiration, and as you can see, her artworks are always inspired by the Japanese culture, but she suggests us to be inspired by the things we love and by nature and by the things that surround us. And regarding the techniques and painting process, she goes deeper into the sketching process and she shows us her sketchbook, which is full of drawings, and all these drawings are made with unerasable tools, as she said before. And after this section there is a poster format illustration. So on the first side we can see this girl at the beach, this sunlight atmosphere, while on the other side there is the same girl under the sea. And she also talks about color choices and style. I think is one of the most popular questions and practically she suggests us to draw a lot and not thinking about reaching a style. Then she talks about how she built a profession, and again her graphic design studies helped her to create a brand, to create products, books, to design products, and to be on social media. Social media presence is one of the most important things that helped her to be out there and to get to be known by people. And in the end you can find 3 tutorials. The first one is about the watercolor painting process, while the second one is about the ink painting process, and the third one is about the creation of enamel pins. So this is it. This is the Heikala's art book, and I hope you get some inspiration from it. The art book of Iraville, called Cozy Days, is my very first art book. I bought it through her Kickstarter campaign, and I suggest you to do the same for the artists you love and you'd like to support. Iraville is a traditional artist, but she studied web design and she discovered watercolors during one of her design projects. She enters us into her workspace where we'll find her tools and paper, and then there is a gallery of all her female characters, which are really sweet but at the same really strong, and they have also different personalities and like faces, expressions and clothes, so there is a lot of variation in there. She also gives us some tips about painting with watercolors, and then there is a watercolor tutorial, and you'll find all the steps she did during during the creation of this nature illustration. And then you'll find like a gallery of nature inspired illustrations along with building illustrations. And there are a lot of tutorials, like crafting tutorials, because she also loves creating her own watercolors, and she shows us how to do this. Then there is a tutorial about creating your own sketchbook, and she also indicates you the tools you need to do this. The book is full of illustrations and is the book that I must read, and I've learned a lot of things. I think that if you are a watercolor artist and you want to have like a book full of content, illustrations, and tips, you should have this art book. I suggest you to buy it because it's like my go-to art book when I'm without inspiration, and when I want to read something and to see a lot of art that inspires me. Ladowska is both a traditional and digital artist. Her style is inspired by mangas and is related to that world. So, if you are a manga artist and you want to learn how to create manga inspired female characters, you should have this book in your library. At the beginning, she shows you her hyper-realistic style background and how she discovered the love for manga style art and for the Japanese culture. She also talks about some interesting topics such as art style, motivation, and social media. Then you'll find like a gallery of her most beautiful characters where you can observe her color choices and line art. At some point, she enters you into her workspace and she indicates you the best tools for drawing and coloring. You can see all the brands that she's using. You'll find then a do and don't section where she teaches you how to avoid some mistakes during the sketching phase. There are some tutorials regarding face and hands drawing, so she shows you face proportions, how to draw the body in different positions, and also how to draw hands in different positions. During the next tutorials, she talks about coloring with alcohol markers like Copic markers and blending colors, especially for the hair. Then she also shows her digital process while she develops different characters, such as the female character on the cover of the book. So, if you're interested in this kind of art style, you should have this book. I love it because it contains both traditional and digital content, and because I love the manga style art, even if it's not exactly my style. So, who doesn't know Loish? If you're a traditional artist, you have to know her and you have to have her art books. She did two art books. The first one is more related to her artistic journey, while the second one, which is the one that I'm showing to you, is related to her sketching process and to her character design and animation. She has studied animation, but she actually does digital painting, and she has a big Patreon where she teaches, and she's more dedicated to her personal art and projects. And I think the second art book is like more full of content and useful tips. I also have the first art book and I enjoy watching to the illustrations, but I think this art book is more suitable for those who want to learn something and to see the artworks behind the scenes and how to create like an illustration, and how to create a storyboard, and how important the sketching phase is for an artist. At this point of the book, Loish shares with us an illustrated story called Departure. Basically, she wanted to create a story from the beginning, so she took an idea from her sketchbook and she developed characters, backgrounds, color combinations, and all the things you need to create an illustrated story. Then you'll find some tutorials, and the first one is related to a female character, so how to draw and paint it on Photoshop. Then the second one is about speed painting, so she took a photo reference and then she did this very quick painting where she added a character, and in the end she shows some tips and tricks about sketching and rendering our sketches more professional and more interesting, and how to give some movement to our drawings. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm waiting for your comments because I want to know if you have other art books recommendations, and I'm going to see you in the next video.